All right, everyone, welcome to the stream, guys. You're watching Rome Knows Tech, and I'm your host, Rome Wilkerson. I'm coming to you from the city of Houston, down here in the ever so hot state of Texas. Tonight, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Of course, I will let you guys choose whatever it is we're going to create tonight, but we're also going to be going over a recent update to the software for the LaserPecker 4. If you guys are not familiar with that device, that's actually this desktop laser that you guys see right here. They have added some new features to it. One of those new features, guys, is the ability to create material test. Okay, now if you don't know what a material test is, it's basically each laser utilizes different software to allow us to test, burn, or cut on that material to determine, what the powers, we're going to need in order to cut through specific, thicknesses of material. That's going to be ideal for us that's working with wood, with acrylic, and other, almost all materials, including my fans out there who are now starting to engrave on metal, stainless steel, especially the photographers who are doing it for metal business cards. This is going to be a powerful tool for you guys if you have the LaserPecker 4. Now, if you're using any of the older lasers, then most likely you are using software called Lightburn. Lightburn already has had that feature built into it for a very long time for us to do material tests on, pretty much any type of material that we're going to be using with these lasers. Now, this is a very new thing for the LaserPecker Studio Space. This is brand new, right out the box. It's still shiny. I haven't found any bugs with it so far, and I don't really anticipate finding any, and hopefully that will be the case. But I definitely want to walk you guys through this. But before we do that, let's go ahead and talk about this device and what you get if you decide to purchase one of these. Okay, so the LaserPecker 4, guys, is now, a lot of people call it a fiber laser. This is not truly a fiber laser, but it's a UV laser. And what that's going to allow you to do is do some of the similar things that you do with a fiber laser. Now, this one has a touch screen built into it, as you guys can see here on the top. It has an emergency stop button. It has these two little buttons here on the side that control the elevation of the laser. So the laser raises and lowers above the material. It also has two little focusing lasers that are underneath it that allow us to focus in on the material. Now, I've actually 3D printed a couple of tools here that give me some, control on focusing the laser as well. So it's been a journey, guys, with the LaserPecker brand. I started off with the LaserPecker 2, then the LaserPecker 3. Now we have the LaserPecker 4, and I am so excited to show you guys some of the cool new updates that they have done to the studio space. All right, I see Terry's in the house, Evans in the house, Richard's in the house. Oh, Richard's in the house. Hey, Richard. Richard, hey. Richard, there's going to be some smoke. I'm going to tell you right now. There's going to be some smoke, bro, because I did not put the laser back in the enclosure, okay? I did not. So, nope, the laser is not in the enclosure. So before you start running off and texting and sending, message bats over to Rachel Cooper, yes, I forgot. I forgot to put the enclosure back on the laser, bro. I did. I did. So, Evans, don't you jump on that bandwagon, Evans. Don't you jump on that bandwagon with Richard. Richard, your phone privileges have been suspended. Your phone privileges have been suspended, okay? You get to make no phone calls for the next hour to an hour and a half, Richard. You can make no phone calls, nor text message, nor send message bats or pigeons or pterodactyls or whatever it is you send messages with, no, Richard, no, okay? Anyway, back to Oh, I left out drones. Yes, no drones. Right, Evans. You got it. No drones either, bro. Let me see, make sure the drones are still here. And then Richard didn't come by and grab one of the drones, and he's going to be sending up a drone or some fireworks in the air or lasers or whatever it is. No, bro. Just no. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Whew. Anyway, back to this laser. So, guys, this is a diode laser. It's a UV laser. It has a ton of features built into it. It comes with, if you go with the full package, you're going to get the slide extension that you guys see right here. This is going to allow you to do multiple jobs or much larger jobs than this laser is designed to be able to create, because this slide extension will move your material backwards or forwards, however you need it to, so that you'll have a much longer work area. Now, the width of your work area is still going to be the same, but at least you'll be able to work on things that are longer. And it also comes with this rotary chuck. This is going to be great for water bottles, pens, pencils, jewelry, any of that kind of stuff, coffee mugs, anything that's round that you want to be able to engrave all the way around. So you get a bunch of accessories that come in this kit. Now, of course, you can buy these accessories separately if you desire to down the road. If you go with the smaller bundle and you get maybe just one accessory, you can always purchase these other accessories separately. The slide extension is currently $259 right now. Let me check real quick to see if there is any discount. There's an additional $20 off discount. So if you guys want to grab one of these later on down the road, I mean, that's the discount right now. So if you already have a laser and you don't have the accessory like this slide extension and the offset that comes with it, you're going to get an additional $20 off. So basically $239. Yes, Rome did some math, y'all. Yes, $239. Now the rotary chuck, guys, you can get here also for $399. All of these components, guys, are all metal. They're built so well. It is crazy how well these things are built. I mean, when I first got the first laser, the LaserPecker 2, I was just so impressed with the build quality of the device. I didn't even know how to think about it. I was like, man, what? This is beautiful. And then the LaserPecker 3, same thing. LaserPecker 4, they kind of stepped it up a little bit. So, you know, it just depends on how you rock it out. I'm watching you, Evans. and if you are like some people that might be slightly challenged with some of these accessories, especially when you want to do things like the metal water bottles. You know, if you do like, you know, my Mr. Mod, Richard, Alan, all the different people I've created these metal water bottles for. There is an easier way to do it as well. So there's a different accessory you can purchase. Now, this accessory is not going to work as well for things like coffee mugs because of the handle, but all of your other round accessories, this will work with it. You know, your pens, your pencils, your water bottles, maybe you wanted to engrave on a flashlight or something like that, you know, whatever it is that, you know, this round that you want to engrave on, this is going to be a much easier way to get it done. To create this was done with the Akeer K1 Pro Max, if I'm not mistaken. And this is actually a file that is provided by Akeer to test their lasers and to create your material tests. But Lightburn has a built-in facility that allows you to do material tests, okay? So that's what we're gonna look at tonight, is not Lightburn, but actually the LaserPecker suite space software. So I already have a material test that I set up earlier just to run a test on it. So this is pretty much what it looks like. You know, once you set up the test, it's going to have either these little squares, and then each one of these squares is going to be represented by a power amount or speed, okay? So on most other diode lasers, this is going to be speed versus power. On the LaserPecker, it is actually power versus depth. So depth is more like speed. Wait a minute, did somebody say Rachel Cooper? Rachel Cooper? Wait, what? What happened? Richard, stop trying to break my flow, bro. Richard, stop trying to break my flow, bro. Because I do not see Rachel Cooper. I'm looking at the comments right now. I'm just going back. I'm going back. I do not see Rachel Cooper. That was just a test? Okay. Oh, Richard. I love Richard, y'all. Anyway, this is a material test that now this software can generate. So we're going to delete this real quick, and then I'm going to show you guys how to set it up, okay? So first thing I need to do is make sure my laser is connected, which I believe it is. So I'm going to zoom all the way out. Let's just go here. So I do have the slide extension connected, so that's why you see kind of this rectangular shape here. If I didn't have it connected, this would just basically be a square, okay? So now we're gonna zoom back in just a little bit. We don't have to go in too far. Maybe, ooh, that's way too far. Let's go back out, Rome. Okay, so let's just zoom in just a little bit, Rome. So that's 200, 400, that's good enough, So that's 400. We're gonna work down here on this end so it'll move the laser when we need to actually test this. Okay, so first thing you have to do is you come over to your shapes and you would grab a rectangle, or it could be a circle, it could literally be anything, but let's just say a rectangle, and you're gonna just draw out a little rectangle like this, and then you're gonna set that to either to line or fill. Now, what's important about that is if you're trying to do a cut test, you would leave this in this line orientation. If you want to do an engraving test, you're going to click right here, and now it's going to turn it dark, which is going to now be a fill, okay? And then from there, you're going to come up here, and you're going to click on Create Bulk, and you're going to click on Material Test. Now, once you have this little dialog box pop up, you're going to see some different little windows here where you can change things. So like first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to change the name of this file. And this is going to be called Richard Made Me Do It. Yeah, that's what we're going to call this file. Richard Made Me Do It. And we'll come back to the threshold here in a little bit. But the power on this, you're going to look at this from two different sides. Okay, so on this side, we're going to concentrate on power. So for max power is 100%, minimum power is 10%. Currently, this has 5 columns and a column spacing of 3. Now, normally you would set this to 10. So this would be 10 columns on the power side, and then on the depth, which is normally your speed side, you would have that set at whatever your speed variations are going to be. So let's say we're going to leave that at 100%, and we're going to bring that down, and then minimum depth is going to be 10%. We're also going to make that 10 as well. So now we're going to have all of those little squares, as you guys can see here. Let me see if I can move this out of the way. Well, when I click on this, it'll show you. Okay, so let me just move this slightly over to the side. You guys can see how we have 100 all the way down to 100. Now, what the threshold allows us to do is that we can offset where we know there is not going to be any productive output. You know, like I know 100% power and 100% depth is just going to burn the wood most of the time. But sometimes it's okay. It depends on the type of wood. But we can go up here to our threshold. Now, currently, this is set at 10,000. So if we bring that down to, let's say, 5,000, you guys see that some of the spaces have removed, have disappeared, right? And you can keep bringing that down until you get it below a certain threshold that you want to work with. So let's say if we brought that down to maybe 3,000, and then we're going to get, more of these shapes off to the side. Now, I already know, working with the wood that we're going to be testing on for engraving, everything up here is going to be, our engraving is going to be somewhere up in this range right here. But if we were going to do a cut test, that will be completely different. So if we bring this back to 10,000, which will give us all 10 spaces, and then just go ahead and click OK. So now you see we have all 10 of those spaces. And one of the things I want to recommend to you guys that you make sure of, do not go in and adjust or change any of these, even though you can see them. So if you go to your drop down here, you're going to see all of those different individual files. Please, please, please don't go in and adjust those, because it will break the algorithm and this will not work. But if you did want to adjust your engraving layer, which is more the fill layer, you could adjust that. That's just where the text is. The text up here, you know, where it says the text and the numbers, you can adjust that. Now I have mine set to 100% power, and right now this is at 5%. I'm going to bring that up to 10% just so we can have it a little bit darker. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab this, as you guys see it right here, which I think is way too big. I'm going to make this smaller. So I'm going to grab my shift button and I'm just going to drag this down just a little bit because we don't want to use a lot of material to create this. And then that's the size that we're going to go with. So next thing we're going to do is hit our preview button, and it's going to, oh, I need to reconnect the laser. Hold on. I don't think my slide extension is connected. So let me go back over here. Let's turn off and then turn it back on. And then let's go to our preview again. And you guys see the laser moved. So now if I move this anywhere on the material, you guys will see that the bed is going to move in, you know, in relations to where I'm moving the material. Okay. Now this wood that we're working with tonight, let me check the thickness of this wood, because I think this wood is thicker than I think it is. So let me grab that and get my caliber. This wood is, well, it says it's 3 millimeters, so that should be good. So it says it's 3 millimeters. That's okay. All right, so now the next thing we need to do is to focus the laser. So let's focus our laser. So I'm just going to grab one of my little focusing tools here that I 3D printed with our AnchorMake M5. This one is designed to just clip onto the lens. So we can just grab this and let's raise this up. And we can adjust it. Now the objective is to bring this down just before it touches the wood, okay? That's the goal, is to just bring this down just before it touches the wood, or just as it touches the wood. All right, so now that is in focus. Now this does not come with your laser. You'd have to actually 3D print that yourself, but the files are free. You can download them. I have them over in our Facebook group. You can just go over to our Facebook group if you have a 3D printer, and you'll be able to just download the file and 3D print it. All right, so let's go back to our preview. Let's hit our preview button. All right, so you guys see pretty much where the preview is falling. I don't want to use a lot of this wood, so I'm going to see if I can push this. You really want to kind of keep this in the center, honestly, because of the refraction of the laser. Okay, so we're just going to put that right about there, which I think is a good position for it. And I could actually push the laser back a little bit. All right, so we're about right there. All right, so let me grab my glasses. Take off my reading glasses. And we're going to run this, but I want you guys to see something else that happens when you run these jobs. Each one of these little files, each one of these little squares is going to be sent over separately, okay? So it's going to take a few minutes, you know, for all of these files to be sent over to the laser, because each one of the squares has a different power setting, okay? So now when I go here to next view, and we should see our preview here on the screen, which is way too big. So I'm going to go ahead and make that a little bit smaller. About there. And let's just move it kind of here to the center. And let's see if it works this time. All right, so we're going to go ahead and hit next. Actually, wait. I got to update that to 10. Okay, so we're ready. Preview. Next. Now, I don't really think it's going to cut. This wood is very hard. I don't think this is going to cut through this wood with one pass. I really don't. So it may have to take a couple of passes. But you guys see all of these right here on the side where I'm moving the mouse. That's each one of those little squares down there, okay? So what it's doing, guys, is it's transferring every one of those squares and its settings over to the laser, including the graphics and everything that need to be cut out. So this has to go all the way down here to the bottom before it'll even start. So, I mean, it's a little bit more time consuming than it is in Lightburn, but at least now this feature is in the app. So I'm very excited about that, because one of the biggest problems that a lot of people have with the LaserPecker units is they cannot just figure out what is going to be an easy material setting if they're working with wood or leather or plastic or paper. Now they'll be able to just run a material test and they'll be able to get a result from it, you know, almost in just a few minutes. So now when they set up their projects, they're most likely, you know, set up for success because they have the right power settings for the material they're going to be working with. So I'm going to switch back over here in a second once we get to this final one, and we're going to run this. Now, like I said, I don't think this is going to cut through this wood one pass. I'm just honestly, I don't think it's powerful enough. I think this is going to need at least 2 passes for it to cut through this thickness of wood, but that's not really a big deal. And the advantage to that is that you can actually reduce the amount of power and do multiple passes where that you don't, you know, take a chance of scarring up or burning up your wood. Now, I'm gonna ask you guys, what would you like to see me make from this test? I have this really cool 3D Christmas tree that I found, and I also found some really cool Christmas ornaments. So it's either going to be a Christmas tree or a Christmas ornament. That's the 2 that you get to choose from. So whichever of those 2 you'd like to see me do. All right, so it's getting ready to get started. So first thing it's going to do, guys, is going to engrave the text onto this piece of wood. And then it's going to try to cut out these little squares. Now, I may have made this so small that it might have an issue cutting out the squares. Richard says tree. Yeah, I think you're going to like this tree, Richard, because I think it's a pretty cool design. LaserPecker actually is working on a beta site where you'll be able to download files directly from their site. Click on the file name and it will automatically load it into the LaserPecker Design Studio, and that's going to be with your power setting, kinda. But I still recommend doing some type of power test, material test like what we're doing right now, in order to be able to ensure that you're going to get the proper power settings in order to get the job done. All right, so that's what we're running right now, is this material test. And this should only take a few more passes for this to be done. I don't see so far anything cutting all the way through the wood. And I also didn't set this to cut out. So there's that. Because I normally would have put a box around this and then set that box to cut out. So I would just have this that I could just put into my little files. And I'd say, okay, this is how much power I need for this specific type of wood. I could always look back on it like the other material tests that I have. All right, so we're almost at the last 2 squares. And here we go. That's the last one. I do kind of see the light coming through, but I don't really think that cut through all the way. I could be mistaken. Oh, wait, there's 2 more. Oh, there's another row. Or is there? Is there another row? Yeah. Okay, so we got 1 more row. Let's see where this cuts all the way through the cleanest. So just because it cuts through, a lot of times you also got to look at the quality of the wood, the quality of the burn, making sure that you're not damaging the wood too much, that you have to do a lot of sanding, or there's going to be creating, you know, like fire or fumes and all that kind of crazy stuff. But there's some smoke. There's some smoke in the city because I forgot to put the enclosure back over this laser. No, I would not be surprised if Rachel Cooper shows up. I would not be surprised. I don't think this cut all the way through. I'm just going to be honest with you, but we're going to know here in a second. So let me grab the wood and we can look at it from the back. It almost almost cut through right there. It almost cut through. Let me see if I can push that one through. Nope, that's not going to go through. So what does that tell me? That tells me what we're about to make. I need at least 2 passes on this wood at 100% power, okay, in order to cut out this Christmas tree. All right, so let me take these glasses off and let me grab our Christmas tree real quick. Actually, let me do that first. This is our Christmas tree, I think. Yeah, that's a Christmas tree. All right, so let me just open the file.